This podcast is part of the Batman Universe Podcast Network, hosted by the BatmanUniverse.net. Check out everything related to Batman and the entire Bat family at the BatmanUniverse.net, including news and original content related to comics, movies, television, merchandise, video games, and more. Also, check out some of the other unique podcasts that TBU has to offer. Consider supporting this podcast by becoming a patron on Patreon. Even $1 can go a long way in supporting this content that you enjoy. Look for a link over at the BatmanUniverse.net to offer your support now. And now, on with the show.
Gotham City, like any other large metropolis, abounds in girls of all shapes and sizes. Debutantes, nurses, stenographers, and librarians.
Gotham City Library, Miss Gordon speaking.
Lopez hair removal. This is Jose.
Holy transformation. 1 minute, plain Barbara Gordon, librarian and Commissioner Gordon's daughter. And the next minute, something new has been added. Batgirl, modeled after her idol, Batman.
Holy apparition! No, Boy Wonder, I'm Batgirl. You are no longer alone, Capes Crusaders.
It took me 3 years to track down the Jade Gato, and 3 more to figure out how to steal it.
Funny, it only took me 10 minutes to figure out how to snatch it back. No matter how you do it, crime doesn't pay, girls.
Salute, mihi nomen est, Stella, ad hoc est, Batgirl to Oracle, the Barbara Gordon Podcast, episode 235 for July MMXXIII. Batgirl to Oracle is brought to you by MileHighComics.com, your new and collectible comic book store. Mile High Comics has an inventory of over 5 million comics from the gold, silver, bronze, and modern age, and over 100,000 trade paperbacks. If you're not into the vintage stock, Mile High Comics also has a subscription service called the New Issue Comics Express, offering a discounted price for comics ready to hit the shelves. So if you're looking for vintage back issues or a great modern subscription service, be sure to check out MileHighComics.com.
Hi, I'm Stella. I'm at HeroesCon 2023 with the Bronze Age Batgirl, Karen Whitfield. Karen, how are you liking the con so far?
Oh, it's wonderful. Hi, everybody. And Stella, thank you so much for interviewing me this morning. This is wonderful. This is fantastic.
Oh, yes. This is an absolute delight, a pleasure. We walked past, Shag and I, saw this display, and I thought, what is this? And so, of course, I went up and introduced myself, and now I'm just excited to put your story out there.
Well, wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's get started.
Yeah, even to get started, what is the Bronze Age Batgirl? How did you come about?
Well, the Bronze Age Batgirl, she became the Bat family in 1975 with Batman and Robin in the comics, and then in 1977 it was the animated adventures of Batman Adventures on television, and it was 1977 February, and I met Burt Ward in Raleigh, North Carolina, at the Hertz Rent-A-Car in September 1977, and 3 months later I was living in LA and started traveling actually with Adam West and Burt Ward as Batman and Robin, and I was hired by DC Comics to be the next Batgirl because Yvonne Craig, that was in the show, she was not traveling as Batgirl at the time. She preferred not to travel and suit up with them. She was in her mid-40s, and I was just 20 years old, and Adam West was 49, and Burt was 32. And they wanted and needed a Batgirl because all the little girls and moms would always ask, where's Batgirl? So instead of suiting up like Yvonne Craig did, the purple and gold, in the 60s, they decided it was the Bronze Age comics era. They were going to put me in the gray suit, which it should have been, but they went on and put me in the black original suit that was made, the comics was made for the Batman series. They put me in that suit because they didn't want to jump over it again like they did with Yvonne. So I was very thrilled. I love my suit. So it was really exciting. So that's how I became the Bronze Age Batgirl.
Yeah. Was there a passing of the torch between Yvonne and you? Did you meet her at all? Did she give you any advice before you started?
No, I never met Yvonne, unfortunately, but I did speak to her, and she was thrilled that I wanted to do that, and she told me to have fun with the guys. It was and then I talked to her a couple of times about things that like I would say, you were able to do take 1, take 2, take 3, and I'm out there live with them, and the things that would happen, and it was fun to speak to her briefly about that a few times.
Did you do any research for the part into Batgirl and Barbara Gordon?
Well, I was 9 years old when the TV came out in 1966, and then I was 10 years old when they introduced Batgirl on there, and I fell in love with Batgirl, and I felt stronger and braver and taller when I first saw superhero girl. It was just really exciting. So watching the show and then just having that in my heart, and then when I became Batgirl, I did read the comics and what they were doing with the Bronze Age Batgirl through the comics. So that's how I educated of where she was going. But then after I left, after 6-7 years, I moved back to North Carolina to have a family. I did not follow it. I was sort of in my bat cave and hung up my bat cave. And then when all the Batman movies came out, I went to see every one of them, and I would just sort of snicker to myself because I knew that I'm sitting there as the Bronze Age Batgirl, and nobody knew. No one knew. None of my friends that I'd meet through those years, and I just did not live in the shadow of it, and until I was ready, because I wanted to raise my children, not on the road. So. When I did come back out and decided that I needed to educate myself where Batgirl went, that's when I found out about the Killing Joke, and she became Oracle, and all that's involved and where she went after I left. I was so proud of her, and I'm so proud to be in that legacy of her being Oracle and the team player that she is, and she was the brilliant of the universe with the computer hacking. It was pretty surreal to read all of it.
Yeah, so do you see a distinction between Barbara Gordon and Batgirl/Oracle? Do you see them as two different almost like entities? Would you describe them differently? No,
I would see them as the same person, but with different roles within the same person. Like we are in life, we can wear so many different hats. We can be moms, we can be ourselves, we can be wives, we can be friends of our families, friends of our friends. I feel like that Barbara, she can be all the things that she wants to be, and she does it well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like in real life.
Yeah. Now, controversial question, do you prefer Barbara as Batgirl or Oracle? This is something that always pops up in my circles. Do you have a preference?
Oh, that's a very good question, Stella. I prefer Barbara as Batgirl versus Oracle. I do, because me personally, I mean, you know, it's nice to sit and, you know, and be in front of the computer and do all those things, but yet to me it's fun to get out and be in the, you know, the world and just, you know, meet like my fans and just, you know, be a part of, swinging from the roof and coming down from the rafters. You know, it's kind of, I like that better.
Yeah,
I think.
absolutely.
Yeah, if I had the choice.
Yeah.
But it's great to have had both.
Yes, no, for sure. Yeah, and yesterday we were chatting off mic. Obviously, you have kept up with the comics. You were talking about Stephanie and that legacy and Barbara being a mentor. So I'm just happy that you're also a nerd too.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
So you very much have latched on the character, which I love.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Adam West told me that when I traveled with them as Batgirl. He said, if you're going to wear the suit, then you have to be the comic character.
Yeah.
You know, you have to live it because everybody's going to be looking at you, and there's, you know, they're going to hang on to every word that you say and everything that you do. So if you're going to be the part, then you need to be the part.
Absolutely. And I just noticed your earrings, because our audience won't be able to see it, but yeah, just amazing. You've got the DC superhero girls, Barbara on there, so I love it.
Oh, I'm adorned with
I know, it's amazing.
I have my own t-shirt.
Yes, this is great. Could you give us a picture of like day in the life when you were on tour and what it would look like?
Yes, we would, you know, they would pick us up at the hotel, and, you know, we would typically eat breakfast with the promoter, whomever that had us come in it was car shows and opening of malls and stores and fundraisers and things like that. We didn't have Comic-Cons when we were doing it. They came in the late 80s, but, and, you know, they would pick us up, have breakfast, sort of talk about, you know, what the day is going to be like, and then we would go get set up and before everybody would get there, and then we would have these small performances between the three of us, which, you know, was a very you know, done on the spot. It was really not any practicing or, you know, talking about this. It was just very done right then and there, you know. Whatever Adam would want to do as Batman, Robin and I would just sort of go along with him.
Yeah.
You know, so it was really a lot of fun.
Yeah, very cool. So Barbara's a pretty progressive character. I would call her a feminist. She's a strong female
Absolutely.
lead. But that time period is tricky. We can, you know, look back and say, oh, you know, there's some problematic things. Did you, as Barbara, feel any of that pushback at the time, or even looking back now retrospectively, do you feel like there were anything that didn't sit well with you, maybe?
No, actually, I feel that it was wanted. You know, even the men, you know, they wanted to see female, I feel, superheroes. They might have went toward more in Batman or Robin, but I feel like it was a nice thing. I never felt anybody push back or anyone say anything like I didn't belong in that situation to be a superhero because I was a woman. I didn't feel that seriously at all. I mean, it was more wanted than it was in that situation.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that.
Yes.
For sure. Yeah. So you talked about, obviously we had the show in the 60s, and then you had the cartoon that was kind of running with you, but how important was it to be a live action Batgirl at the time?
I think it was really important. I think when they were out on the road, as I mentioned, just the two of them, the mothers and the daughters, the little girls would always ask where Batgirl is. So it was, you know, it was a Bat family. She made Bat Family when that comic came out in 1975, the Bronze Age comics, when that started, and I believe people, you know, wanted that. You know, it just yeah,
being present and being represent. Yeah, we always look for representation.
Representation. And I think it would have not been the same if there was never a Batgirl. I think that our human, you know, we are women, you know, and we have a huge presence, you know, in families with men. I mean, And so I think that they were okay with it, and it was in the times that it was the women. It was just time, and it was just accepted, and I never heard anything, that it wasn't.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear it. Yeah.
And I'm glad that I was a trailblazer. I mean, Yvonne. I mean, she's my Bat Queen, and to see what she went through, and she probably, if she was here, she could probably give you more of an answer with that back in the 60s. But I feel that it was just really exciting to live that legacy and be a part of that life. And again, it was 45 years ago, and I look back like, wow, that was me that did that. And I feel like I was a trailblazer for people when I was doing it, and even through my own life, internally, I feel that I have Batgirl in my heart and what she believed in, and I feel like also. Almost being raised by Adam West and Burt Ward. I was with them so long, and I was so young, and I got to see them as superheroes within themselves, and how they were with people. They felt like they were also superheroes, and when they put on that cowl and that cape, they just transformed. And I was standing there looking at them the very first time, like, wow, I'm with Batman and Robin, and that made me feel to want to be part of them. I wanted them to be proud of me as much as I was of them, and I wanted to make them happy, and make the people that came to see us happy, and we always have something to remember that by, to leave something with them by what you say or how you make them feel.
And hopefully you brought a new generation back to the 60s show.
Yes.
Because if they come with questions like, who are these people? Well, there's something that you can watch.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like I came back out to remind people of that time and remind people of who they are, because within time, to me, if it wasn't for them, we probably wouldn't be here, maybe. I don't know, because they opened up that path, and I just think that you're right. Yeah.
I just have a couple more questions.
Sure.
So first of all, with the costume, we know that costumes have gotten better over time.
Suit.
Yeah, the suit. Yes, it's gotten better over time. But what was it like back then? Was it uncomfortable? You got a wig on. I mean, what did it feel like to be in the suit?
Well, it was great. I mean, it was very expandable. It was very, it moved with you very nicely. It was great. And when I put it on, I felt very strong and braver and taller. Like I said, when I was a little girl, I felt that. And the first time I put on the cowl, I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, wow, I'm a superhero.
Yeah, so you felt it, very much.
Yes, I felt it. And just like cosplayers, when they put on their suits, each character they play, they feel it, and they're living that character during it.
Yeah.
And that's how we felt. There was no cosplayers, it was just us. So I guess we were the original cosplayers, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We were cosplayers before there was a cosplayer word.
Yes, yeah. Were there heels on the suit?
I did have heels,
okay,
but not too bad.
Okay.
And they were very comfortable. They made them very comfortable for me. So, yeah.
And did you have a weapons pouch? Because there was an era where she had a red pouch.
Yes, and I still have a red pouch.
Okay, yeah, because you can't see it in the images, so I want to check. Okay.
So we had little batarangs in there, and things like that.
Okay.
So my utility belt.
I'm glad to hear it. Yeah.
It was a lot. It was great.
Yeah. So yesterday I showed my hand. I was very embarrassed. I have this Batgirl podcast, and I didn't know that you existed. So, and you are just making the rounds now. You're hitting the circuit harder. So what is your hope that people learn from your story and just starting to pass it on? Like, what do you hope for people to know about you?
Yeah, I want people to know, especially women, we go through our life and we give ourselves to so many things in life, like I was saying, a mother, a wife, we're involved with so many things, so we forget who we are, but just remember that you can always reinvent yourself. You can always, if you go through that, then you just think, where am I going to go now? But you can do whatever you want to do. You can reinvent whoever you are and whatever you wanted to do. I mean, if you go back to college, if you, like me, I put my cape back on, and I reinvented after raising my children. I reinvented coming back out to meet the fans and to let people know there was another legacy to Batgirl, and to show women that they can do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So where can people find and support you? I know you have a book, which I'm definitely going to be buying before I leave here. Where else can they find and learn more?
My book is Bat Driven West. I named it because I was bat driven, and West because I went west from North Carolina to California, and Adam West. So,
okay.
And you can buy that on Amazon or Blurb, or you can buy it from me directly. And I also sell posters, pictures, all kinds of good stuff. But you can message me on Instagram, and that is Live Like Batgirl, or on Facebook is Karen Whitfield Batgirl.
Thank you, Karen Batgirl. It's been a pleasure and an honor to meet you.
Thank you, Stella, and I love your T-shirt. It's so cool.
Yeah, we're going to be taking a picture soon. But thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome, Stella. You have a wonderful weekend, and thank you.
Yeah.
It was such a delight and pleasure to meet Karen. I highly recommend picking up Bat Driven West, written by her, where she gets to go into more details because she has the space to do it of her time as Batgirl. And if you know that you're going to a con, be sure to look her up. I know she's going to be at San Diego, so please stop by. And it's one of those people that, the interview officially stops, you turn off the recording, and then you just keep talking and conversing, and there were like 2 conversations that happened afterwards. I was like, oh my gosh, I wish I were still recording. So she is just honestly a delight to talk to and such a lovely human, and I hope you have the chance and blessing to meet her. And I did forget to ask her, per the request of Grunkle Keith, whether Karen was a Babs and Dick shipper or a Babs and Jason shipper. But I saw her again on Sunday because I wanted to stop by and say goodbye before I left. And I asked her, and he was right there next to me. And she said, Dick and Babs. So we've got another one. So that'll do it for us here at Batgirl the Oracle. Remember, you can send any questions or comments to batgirltheoracle@gmail.com. Follow the show on Facebook and Twitter. Follow the Batman Universe on Facebook and Twitter. And be sure to support the Batman Universe by going to Patreon. And thanks also to Mile High Comics for sponsoring Batgirl the Oracle, the Barbara Gordon podcast. And until next time, which will, of course, be War Games Act 2. Fly on, Babs lovers.
Just plain Barbara Gordon, masquerading for a lark as she rides into the night on her special Batgirl cycle. Who knows? Is the dynamic duo destined to become the triumphant trio? Only time will tell us more about this dazzling daredoll.
I love a happy ending, don't you?